Criss Angel is one individual who has the knack to send shivers down people's spines. His remarkable talent is the reason he is considered one of the finest magicians globally, if not the finest. Despite his plethora of mind-bending tricks, people still struggle to decipher his secrets. Well, not anymore. Welcome back to Illusion Insider. Today, we're going to unlock the top secrets behind Criss Angel's 5 most mesmerizing magic tricks of all time. So let's dive in. At number 5, we have the beach trick. Criss Angel executed this trick on an open beach with nothing nearby. He then requests a couple of girls to assist him with their blankets. What happens next is nothing short of a spectacle. With the assistance of the 2 girls, he first unfurls the blanket, shakes it, and after a while, someone appears under it as if out of thin air. But that's not all. Criss then takes the second blanket, lays it on the ground until another person materializes underneath it, and quickly scampers off. To everyone's bewilderment, he magically reappears under the second blanket. So, how did he pull this off? Well, here's the secret. Many of you theorize that there's a trap door in the sand. But since this is a Criss Angel trick, the secret isn't that straightforward to deduce. There's gotta be more to it. It's also plausible that the girls with the blankets were insiders for this trick. After all, who brings blankets to the beach? Here's how the trick unfolded. At the beginning, you can see the beach water in the background. But as soon as the first blanket was unfurled, the camera angle dropped to ground level, obscuring anything happening behind the blanket. During this time, Criss's female accomplice, initially hidden somewhere near the sea, makes a dash towards him, eventually crawling under the blanket. It's now clear when she made her move, she was hidden by the blanket. You might also have noticed that the video was sped up, providing sufficient time for the assistant to get there without being detected by the camera. Now, coming to the trickier second part of his performance, how did Criss Angel appear under the blanket? Well, it's pretty straightforward. The person who ran away wasn't Criss, but another accomplice hidden by the sea, dressed exactly like him. When Criss raised the second blanket, at this very moment, his lookalike secretly swaps places with him while Criss covertly slips under the blanket. This switch wasn't visible to the audience. After the switch, you can even see how his assistant never revealed his face, concealing it from the camera, then swiftly ran away unnoticed. Finally, the assistant and Criss Angel materialize under the blanket, leaving us all in awe. At number 4, we have the chain trick. For this performance, Criss Angel utilizes a solid chain. Initially, he requests several individuals to verify the chain's integrity. Now, as he begins the trick, he reclaims the chain and fastens it tightly around his neck. Next, he instructs 2 men to pull on each end of the chain simultaneously. Much to everyone's amazement, the chain appears to magically pass through his neck. So, how did he accomplish this? Before we disclose the secret, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, do make sure to hit subscribe and tap the bell icon to receive instant notifications about our new uploads. Now, let's break down the details to this secret. It's a relatively simple trick to execute and can be easily mastered by anyone, posing no risk if practiced and perfected. To start, if you believe the chain was manipulated in some way, you're mistaken. It's a perfectly solid chain. The real secret, however, lies in how you position the chain around your neck. Criss cleverly convinced everyone that the chain was securely tied around his neck with no possible escape, appearing quite anxious. His lengthy hair also contributed to his performance, making it hard for spectators to see how the knot was fashioned. The key secret here is how the loop of the chain was constructed, a technique known as the false loop. This is the way the magical loop is created. To make the trick appear even more convincing, he acted as if the chain was tightly tied, creating sufficient tension and anxiety among the audience. The 2 men were also directed by Criss to yank the chain abruptly and continuously, as halting midway would undermine the trick's credibility. Once the trick was concluded, Criss feigned pain, intensifying the illusion that left the audience astounded. Moving on to number 3, we have the splitting in half illusion. When it comes to slicing unsuspecting women in half and creating a spine-chilling illusion, no one does it better than Criss Angel. This particular illusion by Criss Angel is not meant for those with weak hearts, especially for people who can't unravel the trick. Let's check out the details. Firstly, Criss instructs a woman and a man to recline on a park bench. He then conducts a similar trick on each of them. For the woman, he commands 2 other bystanders to grasp her limbs and pull her forcefully in opposite directions. When they comply, the woman's body appears to split into 2 halves, as she screams in pure terror, astonishing everyone around. So, how did he accomplish this shocking illusion? Well, here's the secret. This trick was performed within less than 5 minutes, as seen in the video clip aired to the TV viewers. However, the actual recording took significantly longer, nearly 4 to 5 hours, as is clear if you pay attention to the shadows. Yes, if you observe closely, you can see that the shadow from the tree does not fall on the trash can, the woman, or any portion of the sidewalk. However, just 30 seconds later, the shadow can be seen enveloping all 3, namely the trash can, the woman, and a part of the sidewalk. This confirms that the trick was not performed in one continuous shot, but took more than 3 to 4 hours to orchestrate the performance. And in that interval, a lot of questionable things transpire. Let's try to break it down a little further. It's not just 2 people, but in fact 4 people necessary for this trick. The initial woman and man are actors with perfectly normal bodies. Additionally, there are 2 torso doubles, 1 each for the woman and the man. The term torso is used for people who only have a torso and no legs, which may be due to an injury or medical condition. Naturally, the actors and their torso doubles bear a striking resemblance. Now, observe how the bystanders scamper about in hysterical ways once the body split occurs. Does anyone react to this? Indeed, all of them are paid actors who are complicit in this trick. Given that the same illusion was performed on both the woman and the man, let's unravel the trick executed on the woman, which then you can apply to the man as well. Initially, the woman strolls over and reclines on the bench. Notice how she remains lying down and never sits up. This is done to allow for a flawless camera cut to her body double. Now, let's move to the camera cut and the moment the exchange takes place. Off-screen, the woman was substituted with her torso double, equipped with mechanical legs, and placed on the bench. This switch occurred at precisely this camera cut. The torso double was connected to the mechanical legs by a harness that Criss detaches when he thumps her wrist. This was orchestrated to ensure that it appears as if Criss has halved a single person, thus making it seem real to the viewer. You may even notice that the woman's legs are thinner post-split, as Criss employed mechanical legs, the movement of which was directed by one of his assistants. After the split, the torso woman screams and behaves dramatically. Her face also doesn't receive much screen time because she isn't the original woman. Furthermore, if we freeze the video, you can discern how dissimilar the torso man looks compared to the original man. Hence, he needed sunglasses to mask this difference. As for the final part of the trick, where they are reconnected, it all transpires between the camera cut. The original man and woman exchange outfits, creating the illusion as if their lower bodies have been incorrectly attached. Hopefully this explanation clarifies this trick for you, and a hearty salute to Criss Angel for making us buy into this wild illusion. Taking the second spot, we have the walking through glass illusion. Criss Angel once executed a trick when he appeared to penetrate a solid glass window and ambled his way from inside to outside of a shop. However, the truth is, it was all an illusion. To kick off, Criss requested 2 individuals to hoist a large sheet of paper to mask the window through which he emerges. He also verified for the surrounding crowd that the window was indeed unbroken and solid. Next, Criss strolls into the shop, and suddenly his hand appears, poking out through the large paper and tearing it apart. He continues to astound everyone by pushing his entire body through the window until he exits the shop. After removing the sheet of paper, the window remained unblemished. So how did Criss manage to traverse through a solid window? Let's reveal the secret. The glass window is larger than it appears in the front. The window from which Criss emerges is specifically fabricated inside the wall frame. The mechanism includes a tall glass panel having a solid section at the top and a removable section at the bottom, which is concealed by the windowsill. This entire mechanism is controlled by Criss's assistants, likely hidden inside the shop underneath the windowsill. By now, you might have understood that the window is designed to glide up and down, making it easy for the assistants to control. So, when Criss moves to the other side of the window, the assistants simply elevate the glass until the removable section is positioned above the windowsill. Criss then extends his hand through the opening and rips apart the paper, creating the illusion for the outside spectators as if the magician is thrusting his hand through solid glass. Following this, Criss proceeds to push his entire body through the opening, creating the illusion of magically appearing on the other side of the shop. Finally, the glass panel is lowered back down, and the paper is taken away to reveal an untouched window, astonishing the surrounding audience. Regarding the onlookers, they are merely actors, and we leave it to you to determine the quality of their acting. And now, we've reached the crowning trick on our list, walking on water. In one of Criss Angel's most acclaimed feats, he was seen leisurely striding on water with seemingly nothing underneath him for support. As he walked, a swimmer could even be seen navigating directly beneath him. There was a moment when he even lost his shoe, which plunged straight into the water, further suggesting that there was nothing underneath him. How could this be possible, you wonder? The object Criss walked on was likely some kind of transparent material, such as plexiglass, which was meticulously fixed on plexiglass supports known as plexitubes. Plexiglass, when immersed in water, is almost impossible to spot, and the right camera angle further rendered the glass completely invisible. The next detail to observe is that the majority of the people in the pool were hired actors who acted as though there was nothing in the pool. Regarding of how his shoe fell into the water without touching the plexiglass, that's a valid question. The reality is that there's a tiny gap between each plexiglass piece laid in the pool, and that's precisely where Criss caused his shoe to fall through. This entire setup, along with the perfect camera angle, created the illusion of him truly walking on water. So, we hope you've gained some insight into the secrets behind some of Criss Angel's most outstanding magic tricks. Which trick appealed to you the most? And do mention any other Criss Angel tricks that you'd like us to unveil in the comments. Please like this video and share it with your friends on social media. For more fascinating content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And finally, thanks for watching.